The knock on the door came just as Amara was pouring hot water into her tea. She wasn't expecting anyone that morning, and Derek was still upstairs getting ready for work. She opened the door to find a delivery man holding a medium-sized box, neatly wrapped in gold paper with a silver ribbon. "Birthday delivery for Mrs. Amara Cole," he said with a polite smile. Her heart warmed a little. She hadn't received a gift from her parents in over 10 years. The handwriting on the small white card tied to the ribbon made her breath catch. It was her mother's. She carried the box inside, setting it on the dining table. The wrapping was beautiful, but plain enough to make her curious. She was about to tug the ribbon when Derek's voice rang out from the stairs. "Amara, what's that?" She looked up, smiling faintly. "It's from my parents." He froze halfway down. The color drained from his face so quickly it startled her. "Don't open it," he said. His voice was tight, almost trembling. "Can't you see it?" Her brows knitted together. "See what?" "It's just a birthday gift." "I'm serious," he snapped, coming down the stairs fast. "Put it away. Now." Amara stared at him, the ribbon still caught between her fingers. She had never seen him like this, pale, eyes darting between her and the box, hands clenching at his sides. "It's been 10 years since I heard from them," she said softly. "Don't you want to know what's inside?" "No," Derek said sharply. "And neither should you. They're toxic, remember? They don't care about you. Whatever's in there, it's just going to hurt you." His tone was urgent, almost desperate, but there was something else in it, something that sounded like fear. Not fear for her, fear of what she might find. She pulled the box closer to her, protecting it with both hands. "It's my birthday. I'm allowed to open my own gift." For a long moment, Derek just stood there, his chest rising and falling. Then he stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Amara, please don't do this." Her heartbeat quickened. His eyes didn't look loving or protective. They looked cornered. And in that moment, she decided she would open the box, no matter what he was hiding. "If you want, I can now move to section 2, character backstory and present setup, so we can keep the momentum flowing." Amara Cole was 33 years old, but sometimes she felt much older. Life with Derek had aged her in quiet, invisible ways. On the outside, they looked like a stable, successful couple. They lived in a well-kept house in a busy part of Lagos, with neat white walls, polished floors, and a big framed wedding photo in the living room. Neighbors thought they were perfect, but behind closed doors, things were different. Derek had a way of making her feel small without ever raising his voice. He decided what she wore, where she went, and who she talked to. At first, she thought it was his way of protecting her. Now, after 7 years of marriage, she knew it was control. Amara worked as an administrator in a private school. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave her purpose. The salary went straight into a joint account that Derek managed. He often reminded her how lucky she was that he took care of the bills, so she didn't have to worry about money. But the truth was, she had no control over her own finances. Her parents had been out of her life for more than a decade. The last time she saw them was at her younger brother David's funeral. David was 22 when he died in what everyone said was a tragic car accident. Amara had been broken by it, but what hurt even more was the argument that happened afterward. Her parents had accused Derek of knowing something about that night. Derek had denied it and told Amara they were trying to poison her against him. The fight got ugly. She left their house in tears and never went back. In the years that followed, Derek became her only family. He didn't like her talking about David, and after a while she stopped trying. Birthdays came and went without a word from her parents. She told herself it was better that way, fewer wounds to reopen. But deep down, she still felt the emptiness. Derek was charming when he wanted to be. In public, he held her hand, opened doors, and spoke sweetly. People often told her she was lucky to have a husband like him. But at home, his moods changed quickly. If she disagreed with him, he called her ungrateful. If she tried to make a decision on her own, he reminded her who paid for everything. Amara had learned to keep the peace. She dressed the way he liked, kept the house spotless, and stayed quiet about the loneliness growing inside her. But the gift from her parents that morning stirred something in her, something she thought she had buried. She sat alone in the living room after Derek left for work, the gold-wrapped box in front of her. The card was small, with just 3 words in her mother's handwriting: "Happy birthday, Amara." Her fingers traced the letters again and again. It had been so long since she saw her mother's writing. She remembered the way her mother's hands used to tremble when she was upset. She wondered if they trembled now when writing this. Her phone buzzed with a message from Derek. "Don't open that box until I get home." The words made her uneasy. Why did he need to be there? And why did he act like the gift was dangerous? She stared at the box, her mind racing. It wasn't just curiosity anymore. It was suspicion. She thought of David. She thought of the night before his death. How he had called her, but she missed the call because she was out with Derek. She thought about the funeral, her parents' tear-streaked faces, and the way her father's voice had cracked when he said, "You don't know who you married." Back then, She had believed Derek when he said her parents were lying. Now she wasn't sure. The air in the room felt heavy. The hum of the refrigerator, the distant noise of traffic, even the ticking clock on the wall seemed louder than usual. She felt like something was pressing down on her chest. That morning had started like any other birthday, quiet, uneventful, and a little sad. But the moment she saw Derek's face when he noticed the box, she knew this birthday would not be like the others. She didn't know it yet, but the gift on the table was about to change everything she thought she knew about her life, her marriage, and the people she trusted. Do you want me to continue with Section 3? Inciting incident, by late afternoon, the house was quiet. Derek had sent another message reminding her not to touch the box. She didn't reply. The more he told her to leave it alone, the more she wanted to know what was inside. She sat at the dining table, her hands resting on the smooth gold paper. Her heart beat faster as she pulled the ribbon loose. The paper came away easily, revealing a plain brown cardboard box underneath. Inside, there was a folded letter, a small black USB drive, and an old photograph. The photo was worn at the edges. It was of her family, her father, her mother, David, and herself, taken many years ago in front of their old house. They all looked happy. It made her throat tighten. She unfolded the letter. The handwriting was shaky but familiar. My dear Amara, I know you may not want to hear from us, but I beg you to look at what's on this drive. It's about David. Before it's too late, please know the truth. Her fingers trembled as she picked up the USB drive. For a moment, she hesitated. Then she got her laptop from the bedroom and plugged it in. A video file appeared. She clicked it. The screen lit up with grainy footage. Security camera footage from what looked like a parking lot at night. She saw David, alive, walking quickly toward a car. A man followed him, shouting. The camera angle was far, but as the man stepped into the light, her breath caught. It was Derek. In the video, Derek grabbed David's arm. They argued, the movements sharp and angry. Then David shoved Derek away and walked toward his car. Derek followed, still yelling. The footage ended there, but Amara's hands were cold. Her mind raced. This was the night before David died. Derek had told her he was out of town. He had lied. She played the video again, watching every detail. The way Derek's face twisted in anger. The way he pointed at David's chest. The way David shook his head and turned away. Her chest felt tight. She didn't know what the argument was about, but the fact that Derek had been there and never told her made her stomach turn. The front door opened. She jumped, slamming the laptop shut. Derek walked in, loosening his tie. His eyes went straight to the table and the open box. You opened it, he said quietly. She tried to steady her voice. Why didn't you tell me you saw David the night before he died? His jaw tightened. What are you talking about? I saw the video, she said. You were with him. You fought with him. You told me you were in Abuja that night. For a moment, Derek said nothing. Then he gave a short, cold laugh. You think your parents sent you the truth? They've hated me since day one. They're trying to turn you against me. Then why did you lie? She asked, her voice breaking. Why didn't you tell me you were there? His expression changed. The charm was gone. His eyes were hard. Because I knew you'd react like this. You believe them over me. After everything I've done for you. Amara felt her throat tighten. I just want the truth. You can't handle the truth, he said sharply. Then he stepped closer, his presence towering over her. Delete that video. Now. And don't you ever speak to them again. Her hands were trembling, but she didn't move toward the laptop. She just stared at him, realizing for the first time that the man she married might not only be hiding something, he might be dangerous. In that moment, something shifted inside her. She knew she couldn't ignore this. She had to find out what really happened to David, no matter what it cost. Do you want me to go ahead with Section 4, rising tension/emotional conflict, where the danger and manipulation intensify? That night, Amara barely slept. Derek lay beside her, breathing evenly, as if nothing had happened. But she could feel the weight of his presence like a heavy stone pressing on her chest. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that grainy video playing again. David's face, Derek's anger, the unfinished end. In the morning, Derek acted like everything was normal. He kissed her cheek before work and told her to make stew for dinner. But the warning in his eyes was clear. The message was unspoken. Don't push me. As soon as he left, Amara locked the door and opened her laptop. She copied the video onto a hidden USB and tucked it into a small purse she rarely used. Then she deleted the file from her laptop, just in case. Her hands were cold. She had never hidden anything from Derek before. She told herself it was just to protect the truth, but deep down she knew she was protecting herself too. Later that day, she called her mother. The phone rang twice before a hesitant voice answered. Amara? The sound of her mother's voice almost made her cry. Mama, I got the box. Her mother was quiet for a moment. I didn't know if you would open it. I saw the video, Amara whispered. Why didn't you tell me sooner? We tried, her mother said. We came to you after the funeral. We told you Derek was with David. You didn't believe us. We thought maybe you weren't ready. Amara gripped the phone tightly. What happened that night? Her mother sighed heavily. David found out something about Derek's business. He said it was dangerous, that it could hurt people. He was going to tell you. That's why they fought. Before Amara could ask more, there was a knock at the door. Her stomach dropped. She ended the call quickly and went to check. It was the building's security guard. He looked uneasy. Madam, your husband said I should let him know if you have visitors. He told me to call him now. Amara's hands tightened around the door frame. Why would he say that? The guard shrugged. I don't know. I'm just telling you. She thanked him and closed the door slowly, her mind spinning. Derek was watching her, even when he wasn't home. That evening, Derek came back earlier than usual. He was in a good mood, almost too good. He brought her flowers and takeout, told her about his day, and acted like nothing had happened. But Amara could feel it. This was his way of lulling her into comfort before tightening control again. Over the next few days, the tension grew. Derek checked her phone for safety, asked about her calls, and made comments about how much she went out. Once, when she said she wanted to visit a friend, he said, "Better stay home. You never know who's telling lies out there." Amara felt trapped, but she also felt a strange determination. She started small, taking walks in the evening when Derek was still at work, visiting a cyber cafe instead of using her home internet, speaking quietly to people she trusted. She went to see her parents in secret. Her father hugged her for a long time, his eyes wet. They told her more about David's last days, how he had confided that Derek was involved in shady deals, how he had promised to protect Amara from. Her father showed her another piece of evidence, a bank statement showing large, unexplained transfers from Derek's account around the time of David's death. You need to be careful, her father warned. Derek is not the man you think he is, and if he knows you're digging, he'll try to stop you. When Amara got home, Derek was waiting in the living room. Where were you? His tone was calm, but his eyes were cold. I went for a walk, she said. Walks don't take 3 hours. He stepped closer. Were you with them? She swallowed hard. Derek. His hand slammed against the wall beside her head. She flinched. I told you to stay away from your parents. They're liars. They're trying to destroy our marriage. Her heart pounded. Our marriage doesn't need them to destroy it. You're doing that yourself. For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then Derek's lips curled into something that wasn't quite a smile. You think you know the truth, but you don't know what you're playing with. That night, Amara locked the bedroom door when he went to take a call outside. She lay in bed, clutching the small purse that held the copied video. Every sound made her jump. She knew things could not go back to normal. Whatever the risk, she had to get to the bottom of this, even if it meant facing the darkest part of her husband's past. And she could feel it. That darkness was already reaching for her. Do you want me to move into Section 5? The breaking point came on a rainy Friday night. The sky was dark and heavy, the sound of thunder rolling in the distance. Derek had been tense all evening, pacing the living room, checking his phone over and over. Amara sat on the couch, pretending to read, her mind on the small purse hidden in the wardrobe upstairs. When he finally spoke, his voice was sharp. Give me the USB. She looked up slowly. What USB? Don't play games, Amara. The one with the video. I know you copied it. You think I wouldn't notice? You think I'm stupid? His eyes were wild now, his composure gone. Her hands tightened on the book. If you want to explain, Derek, now is the time. Tell me what really happened to David. He gave a low, humorless laugh. You really want the truth? Fine. Your brother was a fool. He got involved in something he couldn't handle. He thought he could threaten me, blackmail me. That night, I told him to back off. He didn't listen. Amara's heart pounded. So you admit you were there. I was there, he said flatly. And if he had stayed out of my business, he'd still be alive. Her chest tightened like she couldn't breathe. What business, Derek? His jaw clenched. You don't need to know. All you need to know is that your brother made his choice. And if you keep going down this road, you'll make the same mistake. He stepped closer, towering over her. Now give me the USB. Her pulse raced. She stood, clutching the book to her chest, and said quietly, No. For a moment, the room went silent except for the sound of rain hitting the windows. Then Derek's hand shot out, grabbing her arm hard enough to make her gasp. Don't make me hurt you, Amara. You're my wife, but I won't let you destroy me. Something in her broke. She twisted free, shoving him back with all her strength. He stumbled but didn't fall. His face was full of rage now, his voice low and dangerous. You think you can fight me? You think anyone will believe you over me? Before she could answer, a knock came at the door, loud and urgent. Derek froze. Police. Open up. Amara's eyes widened. She hadn't called them. Derek's eyes darted to her. What did you do? She shook her head. Nothing. The knocking grew louder. We have a report of domestic disturbance. Open the door. A neighbor must have heard them shouting. Derek cursed under his breath, grabbed her wrist, and hissed. You will regret this. The police didn't wait. They forced the door open, stepping inside quickly. One of them looked at Amara's arm, where Derek's grip had left a red mark, and immediately told him to step back. Derek tried to talk his way out of it, his voice smooth again, but it was too late. Amara found her voice and said clearly, "I have proof he was involved in my brother's death." The officers looked at her, then at Derek. One of them asked, "Where's the proof?" Amara's heart was pounding, but she didn't hesitate. "Upstairs. In my purse." Derek's face turned pale. He started toward the stairs, but the police stopped him. Amara went up quickly, grabbed the purse, and brought the USB down. She handed it to the officer. "This is a copy of a security video from the night before my brother died. It shows Derek with him arguing." The officer slipped it into an evidence bag. Derek's voice cracked as he shouted, "She's lying. She's trying to frame me." But his hands were shaking, and the look in his eyes was no longer confident, it was fear. The police took him away in handcuffs. As he passed her, he leaned in just enough to whisper, "This isn't over, Amara." She didn't answer. She just stood there, the sound of rain and sirens filling the air, her body trembling from head to toe. For the first time in years, Derek was out of the house. And for the first time in years, she felt like she could breathe. Do you want me to go straight into Section 6, Resolution/Empowerment Arc, where Amara starts to rebuild her life and claim her freedom? The house felt different after Derek was gone. Quieter, lighter, but still carrying the ghost of his presence. Amara moved through the room slowly, touching the furniture, the walls, as if reminding herself it was hers now. For years, she had felt like a guest in her own home. Her parents came to see her the next morning. Her mother hugged her so tightly it almost hurt, and her father's eyes filled with tears he didn't try to hide. "You're safe now," he said, though they both knew safety was something that would take time to feel again. Amara stayed with them for a while. She didn't want to sleep in that house alone yet. At night, she and her mother talked for hours, filling in the empty years they had lost. They spoke about David, about the boy he had been, the man he had hoped to become. It was painful, but it was healing too. The police kept her updated. The USB drive was now official evidence. They had matched Derek's voice on the video to his police interview, proving he had been there that night. The bank statements her father had provided were added to the case. It was clear Derek's business dealings weren't as clean as he had claimed. Amara started therapy. At first, she didn't think she needed it, but the counselor helped her see the patterns she had been living under. How Derek had slowly taken away her freedom until she couldn't see herself anymore. Talking about it out loud made her realize just how much she had survived. She closed the joint account and opened one in her name only. She began job hunting again, not because she needed permission from anyone this time, but because she wanted to stand on her own feet. The school where she had worked offered her a better position, with her own office. It felt like a step into a life that was truly hers. Derek's lawyer tried to contact her, but she refused to speak to him. Everything would go through the police now. She didn't want his voice in her ear again, trying to twist the truth. Slowly, she started visiting old friends she had lost touch with. She laughed more, even if the laughter was still a little fragile. She took long walks without telling anyone where she was going. She started cooking the meals she loved, not just the ones Derek preferred. One afternoon, she returned to the house alone. The rain had stopped, and sunlight poured through the windows. It was the first time she had walked inside without feeling fear. She opened the curtains, letting the light in fully. She took down the wedding photo from the wall. The frame was heavy in her hands. For a moment, she looked at her own smile in that picture, a smile she now knew was hiding uncertainty. Then she set the frame face down in a box and carried it to the storage room. It wasn't about erasing the past. It was about making space for the future. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be simple. The trial could take months, maybe years. Derek's words, "This isn't over," still echoed in her mind. But she also knew she wasn't the same woman he had controlled. She had her parents back, her own voice back, and the truth on her side. For the first time in a long time, she believed she could build a life that belonged entirely to her. Do you want me to now finish with Section 7, Final Moment/Emotional Close, where the story ends on a powerful emotional beat? Her next birthday came quietly. No big celebration, no crowd of people. Just a calm morning in her parents' living room, sunlight spilling through the curtain. She was sipping tea when there was a knock at the door. Her mother came in holding a small, neatly wrapped package. "This came for you," she said with a soft smile. Amara took it, her fingers brushing over the smooth paper. It wasn't gold like last year's. This one was wrapped in plain white, tied with a thin blue ribbon. She pulled the ribbon loose and opened the box. Inside was a silver locket. She opened it and found a tiny picture of David on one side, and on the other, a small note folded neatly. Her throat tightened as she read the words in her mother's handwriting. "You are free now." Tears filled her eyes, but they weren't the heavy, painful tears she had cried before. These felt lighter, like something was finally being let go. She closed the locket and held it against her chest. The sun warmed her face, and for the first time in years, her shoulders relaxed. The fear, the lies, the weight of what Derek had done, it would always be part of her story, but it no longer defined her. She didn't know what the future would bring, and for once, that uncertainty didn't scare her. She was free to choose her own path, and she intended to walk it without looking back. Amara looked out the window, the morning light glowing over the city, and whispered to herself, "This year is mine." Hey besties! Thanks for watching till the end. If you enjoyed Amara's journey from heartbreak to freedom, don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And of course, hit that subscribe button for more gripping stories. See you in the next